Three, two, one. All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining, you guys. And Bernardo, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have this soul-to-soul conversation with you.
I'm super excited to connect with you, Katerina. And since I've connected with you some time ago on Facebook, I know that you're someone who brings it and who brings authenticity and your soul to what you do. So I'm excited to see what comes up from this.
Yes. And for those of you who join us, will you guys hit the like and hit the love button? And also let us know in the comments where you're logging in from and your name. We have a little bit of a delay when we use BeLive system. Will take us like 5 seconds to see the comments. So please, you guys, let us know your name. Let us know where you're logging in so we can really begin just having conversations, like a chat in our living rooms. You know? We're gonna drop some love bombs and the truth. Jonathan says, "Hey guys, what's going on? Thank you for joining." Yes. So Bernardo is a love coach for courageous women. Is that about right?
That sounds perfect.
And we wanted to bring this topic to you guys about owning our worth without apology in love and in business, because it's really how you do everything, how you do anything is how you do everything. It really, really connects. Ravi from French Riviera. Hello, darling. Hello. Welcome.
Tough life for him, huh?
Yeah, he's amazing person. And then Jonathan is from St. Pete, Florida. Thank you guys for letting us know. And I've discovered Bernardo about a year and a half ago. And Bernardo, you don't know this story.
Okay.
I think you really enjoy it. I was dating this man for like a minute, which is a short time for me. A few dates, and nothing really went there. But I remember a year and a half ago, or maybe a year ago, I don't remember. But I was like, I experienced one of those ghosting moments, when a man just like vanishes, and it just didn't make sense to me. Intellectually, I knew it, but it kind of hit me. It hit me really hard, like this energy of disappointment. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. It looked so promising. And I started looking at different videos on YouTube to understand the man's psychology. No matter how much I think I know about men's psychology, I'm like, I always for learning more. And then I came across your YouTube, and I was like, something about this man, I resonate energetically, like there's something like you have this embodied wisdom, what I call, where you speak from the soul. Mm-hmm. And you're very playful in your videos too.
Thank you. I have fun recording them.
Yeah, so that's how I found you. And then we got connected on Facebook, and you were watching my live streams, and then we got on the phone, had a good conversation. I was like, let's bring this interaction to our communities.
You know what? It's interesting that you mentioned that, because I think that the first thing, one of the most common questions that I get asked is, why is it so hard for amazing women to find love? Because here's the thing, in this day and age, women have many more choices apparently, right? I mean, in terms of being able to have the job that you want, have the kind of lifestyle that you want, don't depend on someone to create those things. But you find so many women these days who are beautiful, who are soul connected, who are intelligent, and who are having a difficult time finding love. And the answer is exactly this topic that we're talking about right now. The number one reason I found, and I've had literally, Katerina, thousands of conversations with women in every type of scenario you can imagine, self-made millionaires and women in like villages in Africa. And the theme is the same. It's not understanding the worth and not being able to bring their worth in an actionable form into their universe, and from that space, taking less than they deserve, or holding on to things that are not good for them, or creating intensity in ways that are not sustainable. But it really stems down from that force, which is self-worth.
Yeah, so true. So you say thousands of conversations and across all walks of life, and the board,
it doesn't matter if it's a big or small city, or if it's what country. It's the same thing. It's like it's like somebody has it, but they don't know it. Not recognizing that you have something so insanely powerful inside of it, this creative energy, this feminine energy, which is the basis of the creation of the universe inside of it, that's more powerful than anything any guy can bring, basically, and thinking that you don't have enough, or that something's missing, or that your body needs to lose 1 more pound, or something like that. It's just like not owning your worth. And it's so painful to watch, because you see women who really should have what they want, and they don't, time and time and time again. And the guys who show up sometimes are a reflection of not what they think about themselves, because they think highly of themselves, but the way they feel about themselves.
Ooh, wisdom balls right now, dropping it. This is amazing. You said, so it's a reflection of not how you think about yourself, but how you feel, because feelings are the language that we speak to the divine matrix of the creation.
Yeah. You can ask anyone right now. I'm sure that you know women who are awesome, and you ask them, they can write down 20-page resume of how they're awesome, but when it comes down to it, they don't feel it. They feel that somebody has it better than them, or they feel like if they were just 10 years younger, if they were just 20 pounds lighter, whatever it is, there's that little excuse that prevents them from feeling completely awesome in their skin. And when that shift takes place, and it takes work, of course, as you know it, right? You help women do the same thing, and men own their worth in business. When that shift takes place, then it's just very powerful how the results show up differently.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. So this led me to a question, Bernardo. Do you think when the woman doesn't feel like she is fully, like lovable or worthy or whatever, she can be younger, she can have maybe a little bit less wrinkles or a little bit less weight, whatever that story is, do you think that's connected when the woman just settles, and especially if the woman is powerful and courageous, right? And what I often see, and in my own mother's life and in my own life, where you just kind of eventually just like, okay, let me just give this a try. You're settling, you do. And then, you got to learn that karmic lesson again. And then you like, I think you just kind of play out that drama when you don't want to play it out anymore. But I know it's a long question, but my question is to you. What happens to a man's psychology when a woman steps into the settling role?
I think that in his heart, and here's the thing, I'm not telling you things that a guy is basically going to write a book about and tell you, I consciously decide that she's not worth it. He just doesn't feel so hot for her anymore. There's something about her that he basically just says, well, you know what? I'm not so compelled to pursue her anymore. Or maybe she starts showing up as clingy in ways that are not good for either of them. And that pushes him away because he starts feeling, well, if I'm responsible for her happiness, then I don't know if I really want to take on that package. So it's a little too heavy for me. I think that there's not so much of the conscious recognition of both human beings, usually, of this is exactly what's going on. There's just a lack of either excitement in one of them, or a lack of pursuit from the part of the man, which is the one who will pursue, basically, even though women take that role on right now. I think that something changes energetically where the guy feels and sees you as less valuable. And if he sees you as less valuable, then the logical step is he's less valuable to be with you if you're less valuable, right? So it's in a selfless and selfish way, both. I'm less than if I connect with something that's less than, so I'm not going to do it.
And it happens in a very subtle and a very subconscious way, right?
It happens sometimes it doesn't take long sometimes for it to happen. Sometimes it does if you have a longer relationship. Sometimes at the beginning, there's something missing. Just like when you as a woman connect to a guy and you see that there's something missing, that something meaning maybe, this, and you say, I don't know, this guy's a little wishy-washy. This guy doesn't know what he wants. And this lack of confidence makes you say, second date, no thanks. Same thing for the guy when he feels like, well, she's beautiful, but kind of like she doubts it. He plants this seed in his mind, in his heart that says, well, there must be something else why this is going on. What is it? Maybe I don't even want to find out,
Oh, so good. So good. And, I see such parallels between the relationship and business. It's like, when I was preparing some notes for a conversation today, I was feeling like, hey, if you, for example, in business, if you don't know how to ask for a sale, if you don't know how to offer your service boldly and with confidence and full ownership of that, you probably will have a really difficult time asking what you need and what you want in relationships. So you know how it just bleeds one into another, right?
Well, let me ask you this, Katerina. What do you feel in the conversations you have with the clients that you help? How do you see this essence of lack of self-worth show up specifically in business numbers, in kinds of clients people take on? I mean, what have you seen as the experience or the result of somebody showing up with the doubts about their worth or not fully owning it?
Ooh, it only takes a sliver of doubt to kill the dream. You know, it's so true. When I think about somebody who struggles in business with their self-worth, usually there's two challenges. Number one, they don't take full ownership of their gifts, their divine soul gifts. You know, they keep developing them. They keep getting certificates on the fall, you know, intellectually to feel good, to think better about it. Yeah. But they don't feel it's unique enough. They don't feel like it's so worthy. And oftentimes, because it's their gift, it's their natural talent, and they've been given it away for free all their life. I often tell them people will pay you the most amount of money for what you've been given away for free all your life. So that's number one. They don't take ownership of their gifts. And number two, they don't step up in their leadership.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like these two wings. If you don't have those two wings active, you can't fly.
That's right. Well, another question that comes up.
Okay.
How, I mean, because we're talking about the challenge, what do you see as maybe, because there's obviously the work, but in practical ways, what are some things that you've seen work for men and women that you serve that are in that business, or they own their own business and they have that fear of going forward, they have that fear of sharing their gifts, and they're, as you said, I mean, like, it's easier to say, I'm going to go back to school than how do I launch this thing, right? One is security, even though it's expensive, right? And the other one is like, oh, I can risk and maybe I'm not going to do that. So what's the first practical step in your line of understanding this that can help someone to turn this around? I know it's a loaded question because there's so much.
But it's totally cool, but I'm going to take them on. What's the first practical step? You know what the first answer came up is vulnerability. Begin naming what you feel. I feel, you know, deep fear comes up when I'm about to turn the live stream on and talk about my gift and making an offer. You know, there's some vulnerability disarms.
Yeah.
It absolutely disarms. So I would say naming what you think, what you feel, and begin showing up. So courage is built through imperfect action.
Yes, it is.
You know, and the more you take your mind off you, focus to you, but focus on people that you can serve, it really liberates you. Because I drill it with my students, Bernardo. Perfection separates you from the people that you serve. Be imperfect on purpose. Yeah. Be imperfect on purpose. You're not going to be, you know, like this fantastic from the beginning, but you can be real. You can be real and you can care. And that's going to carry you through to the next step where you develop more and more your skill set. But the very basis, vulnerability, care, and just courage. Those three things you just have to constantly nurture and constantly grow that ability to show up.
That's powerful.
Yeah. And you know, my question is for you when it comes to women not owning our power, right? Pursuing. It's so funny because when we had this conversation, I did the relationship work for about a year, and then I transitioned from it. My message had to shift, and I had to transition. But you know, it was frustrating. Like, I wonder how you deal with this. Like when especially for women who are powerful. I know I keep bringing this topic.
Oh, that's good.
And, you know, sometimes it's so hard not to bring the energy that you crush in business, not bring it into relationships and into your dating life, right? And I've had clients before who like, I'm not chasing anybody. I'm like, you are strategically planning webs to get this guy into your web. That's called you are chasing him. You know what I mean? So how do you help people to break through that? You know, because when the woman starts chasing the guy, number one, that's a really, really sure way to kill your self-worth and your self-esteem. you know? It's like a certain path. But what is your way of helping them redirect that mindset?
I think the first step is like compassionately understanding they're going through something. They're doing the best they can with what they've learned. And it's very hard for me. I mean, it would be easy for me to say, well, don't fucking do it this way, you know? And they've done it their entire lives that way without really understanding. They've gotten so much of what they have based on that. So just to say, don't do it is not going to cut it, because the human, as you probably know, the human beings are designed to survive, not to thrive, you know? So when you go, if you learn to survive by taking action like a man would, because this world was, unfortunately, I have to say, designed by men for men. It's changing, but look at the past, I don't know, thousands of years, it's been that way. Then women have had to take on that energy for the most part to be able to survive. Now, if you understand that, then, but you help someone understand, not by intellectually getting it, but by feeling the power of their own feminine wisdom, then it's an embodied experience of them saying, well, when I do it this way, I get this result that's different. Which one feels more congruent to my heart? And if it feels more congruent, even though it's not easy or it makes you feel vulnerable, then stepping into it from a place of, I know that when I lean back, guys show up differently versus when I show up with my power suit, right? Then I don't have to convince you of anything. Your heart will lead you to get that experience, because your heart says, that's exciting for me. It's like when you train a guy, or, you know, a guy shows up with flowers and you're so happy about it, he learns, you know what? She likes when I bring flowers.
Yeah.
So you're training yourself from the nervous system and your heart and your soul to experience something that creates more synergy and creates more of the ability for you not to have to do things all the time. Does that make sense?
It makes such a beautiful sense of compassionate feeling towards yourself, right? It's almost like you are watching your old reflexes. It's like a Pavlov's dog, right? Yeah. So you can't
see yourself from the outside, right? And then, but you also notice, hey, if I were to do it differently right now. So here's the thing. I think most of us ask really bad questions when we're about to go into something. If somebody asks if a woman asks herself a question, does this feel right now? It's not going to feel right. Why? Because you've never done it, or because you've done it very few times. If you ask the question, despite it not feeling right, might it serve me? And then if the answer is yes, then you do it knowing that it's going to feel uncomfortable at the beginning, but it might get you a result completely different from the one you've gotten before. So you go into it with trust, knowing that there's a different way that might work for you. And you don't confuse intuition with fear, right? Because if you say, well, I'm afraid to do this, my intuition's speaking loudly. No, it's not your intuition, it's your fear. So just brush it aside for the time being, embrace it, step into it, and know that even if it's uncomfortable, it's beneficial. And then you get a 360 experience of how powerful is this part of me that I've been neglecting, and what would happen if I step into it more consistently, if I open my heart, if I drop from my head to here, you know, and I'm present here with you, feeling what you're feeling. And that creates an experience for a man who will not know what hit him. He'll just say, oh my God, can I get her number? Or if he has her number, can I ask her out? If he's asking her out, how can I make her mine, right? That's the process that the guy goes through. He doesn't know what hit him, but he's just being guided through that essence. I mean, at the highest level, he wants your light. That's the main thing he wants. So all the other things, bells and whistles you have, I think they're awesome. But the main you know?
I love it. I love it. The bells and whistles. Oh my God. You speak such deep truth. You know, like I often say, it's like, you know, the man desire feminine energy like honey, like bees honey. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So, but is it, do you feel it's, when a woman tries to prove herself too much, it's actually the energy goes in reverse?
I think it's very similar to when a guy tries to prove himself in weird ways. Like, for example, let's say there's a guy who's successful, right? And he enters a restaurant, and the first thing he does is he takes out his wallet and takes out, I don't know, $100 bills and starts looking at them. Then you feel like, this guy, I mean, this thing might be this small for him to be doing that, right?
Totally.
But if he goes to a restaurant and he has whatever, and he just feels it, you can feel, whoa, there's something about this guy, right? He has something. You don't have, like, it's the same thing with women. When you don't have to prove yourself, then he gets a chance to connect to that part of you that is far more powerful than your words, far more powerful than the strategy, far more powerful than the mind even. And we are instinctual animal beings at our core. We try to justify ourselves with logic, but we move through something that is deeply felt in our hearts. That's how we move. And if you can touch that through being without having to show up or show off in different ways, then I think it's much more powerful. So the same question to you, what do you think about people who show up in business trying to prove themselves too much? How do you feel that plays out, or what's the consequence of that, the way you see it?
Oh my God. It's like, it's repelling. It's repelling energy. It smells desperate.
Uh-huh.
It smells desperate. That's why a lot of times when somebody, let's say they need a client so badly right now, today, they'll never be able to enroll that client. They'll forget it. Or they need the deal. They need the deal so much that they can't walk away from it. They already lost it. They lost the case, right? So, it's this energy of pure unattachment. And, the mantra that I teach my students is keep letting go of attachments and focus on, let me discover this human being in front of me.
Yeah.
Let me discover why the universe brought our paths, right? Let go of projection. Let go of he or she can fit into my, this plan, this grand plan that I've designed in my own head. The moment you do that, you come from ego. You don't come from full presence. So I always say, come back. And I apply that to my dating life, Bernardo, because my mind goes into them like, oh, is this a good candidate? Or is it, it's like, what's going on over here? And then I say, Katerina, stop.
Yeah.
Discover the human divine being in front of you. And only time tells where and why the Dharma and the karma brings you together. Only time will tell. But I think especially in business, but relationships as well, it's that energy of openness and curiosity and letting go of agendas and being really transparent. Hey, I'm really here to discover you.
Yeah.
I
think you bring a powerful point, because I think one of the things that get a lot of women stuck these days is he has to be it. Like sometimes women connect with me saying, how can I get him back? It's like, why would you want to get him back? If he doesn't want you, why on earth would you want him back, right? And I know it's easy to say, but when you're in a relationship that feels addictive, you don't know that it's an addictive relationship, but it feels like if he goes away, you can't breathe. It's very disempowering, right? And for someone to be able to break free from that at that moment, it's really that unattachment you're talking about. It's being able to walk away. If you cannot walk away from a situation, then you need that person to survive. And that you put an undue burden on that human being to make you happy. No one can make you happy, as you probably know. So in that moment, but guys especially, when they feel like, oh, I need to make her happy, it's such a heavy, some guys, if they're into rescuing, they'll feel good for a while, but it gets old for both people. So it's how to let go of that attachment that it has to be this, and how can we explore if this is possible, and if it is great, and if it's not great, something else better, more aligned to what I want is in store. Stepping into that abundance is part of the work, right? How do you come from a place where you haven't had it and now you know that it's possible,
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's all about that scarcity thinking versus abundance thinking.
Yeah.
It all goes back to how do you feel moment to moment,
exactly.
Right? Yeah, because, so many voices, like if I hear somebody say, oh, there's no good men out there, or these leads suck, these prospects are horrible, there is no high-end clients anywhere. It's like finding a high quality mate. It's like finding the most powerful and aligned business partnership. It's very, very similar. Yeah. The more you chase it, the more it eludes you, right?
It's true. And there's another part that I think most people don't talk about, which is it's difficult. It's painful and it's difficult and it's lengthy and there's sacrifice involved. I think
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. In this society where people want things to happen so quickly, and I understand, I want things when I order something, I want it next day. But on the other side, you want the thing that every human being or most human beings in history have wanted and few have gotten. And to think that there's not going to be sacrifice involved in getting it, I think it's delusional. Just like saying, I think people talk about deserving love in interesting ways. I think you deserve the love you get. And here's what I mean by that. Everybody deserves human kindness. Everybody deserves respect. The love that you are able to create and embody, right? I mean, that's what it's like money. How much do I deserve? How much you make? That's how you deserve. You want more than right?
I just love what you share. It's so good. It's so true, right? It's so true.
It's like getting a devotional relationship would be like saying, I deserve to be a billionaire. Why do you deserve to be a billionaire? If you do the things to be a billionaire, you deserve to be a billionaire. If you deserve the things, you do the things to be devotional, compassionate, long-lasting relationship that's monogamous and it's growing. That is different than how can I get a boyfriend? Getting a boyfriend is easy.
You preach. I was just talking to a friend, and and I was like, there is never been easier to get a boyfriend or a girlfriend. It's like snap a finger, 10 of them lining up. But you know what I mean? It's not what, it depends what is you searching for. Like for me, and oh my goodness, Facebook, let's talk about my personal life for a minute. But for me, it's the divine partnership that my heart longs for. A person who can really meet me at multi-dimensional level. It's a multi-dimensional partnership, and there's so much surrender in that. There's so much surrender to the process, and our logic hates the surrender, because just like you said, we're so trained, like those Pavlov's dogs, to get Amazon boxes. Buy something on Amazon, it shows up tomorrow to the door, right? But love and purpose work, it's not Amazon.
It's different because it's sometimes you put 3 in, and instead of getting 6 out, you get -5 out. You don't control a human being. You inspire them, and you can figure out who they are. But it's not necessarily I put 5 in and I get 5 out. And that's why it's scary, especially as you're talking about powerful women. Powerful in the sense that they've gotten a lot of what they want through not surrendering and through not leaning back. So to now go and lean back to get something different, I think it's a big ask. But in that leaning back, there's also the discovery of something different and more powerful and sometimes very real that's been disconnected from sometimes for years. And it's the recognition of this girl that planned to be a princess is still inside and can still be a princess,
Yeah.
And a different kind of risk to be able to get back to that.
Oh my God, Bernardo, it's so true. It takes risk to lean back, but it's so funny because I see that in my business. The more I lean back and the more I operate from my divine feminine essence, which is really just the magnet that I am, right? The more I draw everything that I need. Life always brings exactly as I need. So it's the same principle. It's a universal law. Allow, accept, embrace, allow, right?
And say no when you want to say no, right? Because that's part of the whole thing. I think you can definitely say absolutely not if it's not something that you...
I said no 5 times last week.
That's good.
And it's actually very empowering. Half of it was in business, half of it was in personal relationships.
You have to say no. To say yes strongly, you have to say no strongly as well. And I think that there's nothing... I think, here's the thing, Katerina. I think that love has this reputation of being soft and fluffy and pat in the ass type of love. And love sometimes has nothing to do with that. Sometimes love is saying, fuck no, it's love sometimes. Sometimes saying what you want even though you're shaking, even though it doesn't feel comfortable and fluffy. That's love too. So embracing the multiple facets of love versus connecting to the kind of love that you see in movies, which is only one-dimensional, I think and that's why I'm talking about sacrifice, because sacrifice it feels uncomfortable, it feels scary, and sometimes it's painful, but short-term. You're always looking at the long-term game that you're playing, right? Long-term you want this, short-term you have to do that. Most people in relationships play the short game. It feels good right now, so I'm going to do it. But then it comes to bite you in the ass.
Wow. Oh my God, that you just explained it so beautifully. That's right. Yeah, because it feels good. You go for the short term, but it's a long-term game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So powerful. I love it. What keeps your relationship alive? How many years have you been with your lady?
I've been married for almost 18 years. It's been 17 years and change. What keeps it alive is a deep, deep friendship. I think at the core of the whole thing. If you don't have that, you don't have anything. So it's, of course, there's more than friendship, but you need a solid friendship and understanding of the other human being to make it. I mean, I've been married for almost 18 years. You asked me before we started, like, what are things people don't know? I've almost been divorced twice in this process, you know? I love to say it's always been unicorns and rainbows, but that's not what love is. Sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it's challenging. Sometimes it's like, can we really do this? And emerging stronger from something painful or challenging that happens is part of the process. But if you get sucked into it, saying this is all that there is, then you don't make it. So what keeps it alive is a deep friendship and also understanding of each other's differences. I don't want her to be like me. I know she's different. There's going to be things that I will never in a million years agree with her on, and same thing vice versa. So she understands me enough to let me do my thing and I let her do her thing, and we unite in common interests. But if I wanted her to be like me, then I wouldn't be with her. And same thing, if she wanted me, like, she's the life of the party. She enjoys, I don't know, like amusement parks opens up at 9 a.m, close to midnight. She wants to be from beginning to end with my kids, and I can do 2 hours of that. Now, if she wanted me to be there all the time, I couldn't do it. If I wanted her not to do it, it wouldn't work, right? So there's a lot of healthy compromise that takes place. So long as the core values are aligned, then I think that's what sustains. And I've been through some of the most powerful times of my life with her. The death of her father, the death of my father, the birth of our children. So many different situations that have drawn us closer, regardless of how things have gone back and forth, you know? So there's a lot of just story there that...
I love what you just shared. You know, like, for me, it's non-negotiable. Friendship first. Like, friendship first. I have to know the person, and I find some of the most fulfilling relationships for me is when, you know, there was a really deep and strong foundation of friendship.
Yeah, because then
ultimately you got to enjoy somebody as a person, not just in your bed, right?
And also because there's going to be so many times, just life itself will present situations, and the differences will present situations where if you can't work things out, repairing the problems is part of the whole thing. And there's always the reparation of some type of problem. If you have a deep friendship, you'll do it. If you don't, then you're not going to last. And here's the thing. There's another thing. It's not to say that people who last shorter times, it's a less valuable relationship. I'm of the idea that all relationships are divine relationships in some way, right? Sometimes a short relationship is as powerful as a 35-year-old marriage. It's just what's in store for you at that moment in your evolution. The thing is, how can I learn my lesson so that I don't repeat that same relationship 25 times versus step up to the next thing, even if that relationship's still 1 month long. But what's my next lesson, right? That's what this whole game is about.
I love that. Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Sometimes the most potent relationships, they can be 2 years old, 2 years, a year, a month, and they just, you know, they put you through that purification cycle. Yeah, you know.
Let me ask you a question. What do you feel? What is the most challenging thing for you in your business, in helping people? What do you feel like it's the most challenging thing that you deal with, or that you experience? I mean, I know overall it's absolutely worth it, or you wouldn't be doing it. But I'm sure there's things that you say, well, this is a challenge for me, or this is like something that it's not unicorns and rainbows as I call it, right? What is it, and how do you deal with it usually?
Yeah. I would say the most challenging is from it's this energy of impatience that we were talking about.
Okay.
You know, that
I feel you.
right. It shows up in any business, relationship or business. Yeah, sometimes I just have to realign people with the bigger vision and remind them that mastery takes time. Mastery takes time, and we're going to earn our way to mastery. And I help them compress the timeline really, really massively, you know, fast and fast and fast, because I throw them into the rings of fire, you know, and make them do uncomfortable things that help them grow, right? But at the same time, the big thing is like to really help them to be patient with themselves, to be compassionate, you know, kind of like what you were just talking about. Yeah. And, you know, and a lot of times it's, a lot of people struggle with perfectionism. You know, it's a really big, it's like this. It's the energy. I see it's the frequency that people get trapped in.
Yeah.
And they're so concerned how they appear, and they're so afraid to do it right, to do it perfectly. And a lot of times they get lost in the fantasy land, like one day I'm going to launch this thing one day. And I use a lot of storytelling. You ask me, how does it help? How do you go move through this?
Yeah.
I use a lot of storytelling, because our brains go into trance when we hear a story. And I really just tell a story of how it's all right, and you can move through it. And I tell vulnerable stories, Bernardo. I make stories that don't make me look good, that make me look, not in a fine light. But something deep transformation happens because they can see themselves in my story, and they can feel human and feel compassion for themselves, and that gives them courage to go and take something and do something really, really bold. So the storytelling is my superpower, for sure.
I mean, I think the storytelling, if I might say this, is a place where you access a part of you that is beyond the storytelling, where they can connect to this essence that resonates 100% true to them, and where the space of transformation can take place. It's like a good method that you use, but the core of your heart is what really makes that change.
Yes, absolutely. You can't fake the frequency.
Yeah.
You really can't fake the frequency. And I also remind people to be really, to be faithful and small, to be like, when they step on this path of entrepreneurship, I'm like, say, life brings you this amount of responsibility. Be so faithful to what you've been granted. And then the universe will extend your container for responsibility and for your power and for your influence. It's not going to happen overnight. You got to kind of earn your right to hold that much energy in a way. So it doesn't overwhelm you. It doesn't get you in your head. It doesn't, your ego doesn't take a grip of you, So it's just patience, and showing up so fully for every conversation, for every person, and then trusting that your higher self will expand your service, expand your reach when you're ready for it.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me see. Oh, so many people. Aloha, Jade. Aloha. Hey, you guys, so many comments, and I'm just looking through them right now. People say spot on. So needed to hear this tonight. Thank you so much. So much gratitude we're receiving, Bernardo. And we can't see the comments in real time, but you guys, there's a little bit of delay, but we do see them. And Bernardo, what do you think if we open up some time for questions?
Sure. Go for it.
You guys, you have both of us on one live stream. What would you like to hear? What is your questions about owning your worth, owning your standards in business and in life? And let us know in the comments so we can see them and we can answer them. All right, we're probably going to be a little bit of delay, but we will see them, you guys. So type them in, and let me see what I can. I have a question. Bernardo.
Go for it.
Okay. Since you're working with courageous women, how do you help some women to drop the addiction of playing a role of a mother in her relationships?
Here's the thing that I found very, very helpful in helping women find love. And I'm sure it's probably similar in your situation in terms of your business. I don't work with women who are not hungry. Sometimes I connect with someone who is not, I don't feel super hungry to get this. So at that level, I'm very honest and I say, I'm sorry, I can't help you right now. So the moment where I really step up, I'm prefacing this because when I work with someone, they're super hungry and they're feeling the pain. When someone's feeling the pain, helping them to drop something is easier. It's not easy, but it's easier than if they're just kind of convincing me that it's necessary. They know that they need it, they want it to happen, and they suffer the consequences of not doing it. So specifically as it relates to dropping the role of the mom, I mean, it's multiple things. It's with stories sometimes, it's with strong metaphors that viscerally punch somebody in the gut and allow them to recognize what they're really doing.
Share one.
I mean, I don't want your Facebook stream to be taken off. That's the thing. Can I?
No, this one we are censors free. You know, we're in the Be Live TV.
I mean, somebody's connecting with me, and I say, "Do you enjoy fucking your son?" And she's like, "What do you mean by that?" "Well, you're fucking your son, and you're having fun. Tell me about it." And then she'll start recognizing it's a strong metaphor. She said, "Well, I don't want to do that." And at some level, something shifts where they say, "You know what? That thing, because as long as you call it, I'm kind of being nurturing to my partner, that's different." Right?
Oh my God, it's a truth grenade right here.
Yeah.
No, you know, it's so powerful, Bernardo, because our metaphors, once again, it's the most powerful way to shift somebody through metaphor.
You see something that's different, and when you see something different, then there's new connections in your brain that allow you to, you know what, say, I'm not going to do this. So that's part of it. I think allowing them to step into a challenge that will bring about a new experience, right? When I give them a challenge to do something that when they do it, they'll feel the difference. And then for themselves, they can come back and say, you know what? The way I was doing it is better, or this way might be more beneficial. And it's not my way or her way, just a different way of doing things, right? I'm a big proponent of experience versus intellectual conversations. The intellectual conversations are fun, but they don't create change.
That's right.
Someone steps into a real challenge or a real embodied experience, or goes back in time and figures out how their life has been majorly fucked by how they're stepping into it and how it will continue to be not served, then people change because they feel more pain towards staying where they are, you know? But it takes radical honesty. So you were asking me also before we started, what's something people don't know about you? Yes. Some people at the end of the conversation will think, this guy's the biggest asshole I've ever spoken with, because I will share my truth unrestricted, have a higher commitment to that than you liking me. So if sometimes it rubs people the wrong way, and I'm totally fine with it, I'm not here for a beauty contest or a pageant, is that how you call it? Pageant? Yeah. I mean, because if that little moment of connection will bring about a new reality for someone, then, and it stays at that, we don't even work together, I'll sleep at night happy with that versus I was nice and kind, but she's still stuck in her problems, you know?
That's right. Oh my goodness. So honor you for that. It's so true. You know, like my mantra is just show up and make sure this person will never forget this conversation.
Yeah. If they feel it inside and there's a shift inside, then there's a new experience to draw from, right?
That's
there's
right.
a new reality, new connection, new reality, new feeling towards the old behavior. And then it's easier to change than if you're subduing it with low-level metaphors that don't serve anyone. That's
right. I am curious, what was your experience? Was there a moment or a point, you know, this really powerful experience where you fully owned your worth in business and in love?
Yes, there's been many, but the most specific one, and the reason why you and I are speaking today, is my father dying in my arms, basically. That's the one thing that got me to wake the fuck up, basically, in terms of what do I want to do with my life? Why am I here? My grandfather's dead, my father's dead, and I'm next. And if I don't step up in a big way, then I'm going to die incomplete. That's the single greatest experience, the most beautiful and the most painful lesson in one that I've experienced in a single day.
Mm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then what happened? So you had that inner shift. Your father is in your arms. You have this deep mutation, right, internally.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
And then I didn't stop. I just basically I'm not suggesting this because it's a different style for everyone. But I was working full time, and I was working full time at night. You know, I was doing both things, full time at my job and full time creating videos and recording myself. And I remember the first time I recorded myself, I wanted to cry. I saw the thing and I said, "Oh my God, I bought this expensive video camera, these lights, and I think my future is doing this. And it's so bad that I can't watch myself." I literally almost cried. And then I said, I'm going to do this 25 times today. And I did 25 recordings that same day. And the last one was slightly better than the first one, some improvement. So I saw a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And I did it until it finally clicked. I mean, I burned through my 401k. I put everything on credit cards. I risked it all because I went from I want security to there's something more important than security for me. And when I made that shift, only when I was willing to risk everything did things start happening, you know?
Oh, I got goosebumps everywhere when you said, when I realized there is something more important for me than security. Wow. Such a similar journey for me, Bernardo. Such a similar journey.
What was the moment for you?
You know, the same thing, you know, like what you said, when you just risk it all. For me too, you know, exactly the same. 401k, credit cards, you know, put everything on the table, right? Everything, just say, fuck it, I'm going all in, right? But I believe the main shift for me happened when I just made a decision. I will never, ever, ever discount myself anymore. Mm. You know, because I just kept seeing that when I would discount myself, my clients would not show up as powerfully.
Yeah. You're basically, I believe less in you, therefore I'm asking you to, I'm discounting myself. So, but what was the moment that led you to, like, what was there a painful experience that you went through that said, this is the last time I do it? Or what specifically led you to go all in that way?
Go all in. Yeah. Well, you know, I have this core message that I constantly share with people. Do you wait or do you create? You know, and I shared this on Facebook very publicly and very vulnerably, you know, when there was the secret desire to be rescued, right? And even for independent, a very strong woman like me, who always provide for myself all my life, there was this one inkling, you know, when he comes, the life will really begin.
Yeah.
And I'm watching 30 years old, 31 years old, 33 years old. And I'm thinking, you know what? And I was very successful in my life, but I wasn't doing what I loved. And I was still waiting for my purpose and for my life to begin. And there were many moments, Bernardo, that I felt so uncomfortable in this world. Being a highly sensitive person, an empath, and having all these esoteric gifts, this integration into human experience was not an easy ride for me. Uh-huh. So I found myself having this pattern of checking out of my reality, you know, through different addictions. And I was on this cycle, a very, very destructive cycle for 2 years. Was using this brain performance drugs, you know, that was really made me feel invincible. You know, it felt like somebody put a protection bubble around me and I could perform and crush my goals, but I wouldn't feel as much. You know what I mean? Yeah. And my moment, you know, you shared your father was dying in your arms, right? And my moment was me on the bathroom floor, high like a kite, you know, just so checking out of reality, not wanting to do anything with this world, you know, just feeling the pain of the world and being so overwhelmed by that. That's all I wanted to do was to kind of like do this. Yeah. And I was on the bathroom floor holding 2 pounds of my designer drug. And I heard this voice, you know, the moment of destiny. It wasn't the voice of my checked out brain. It was literally a voice of my higher self. And that called me to my mission. And it was 2013, you know, it was such a powerful moment. It was like, okay, child, you've had your fun. It's time. Your mission is waiting for you. Your purpose is waiting for you. Get up, dump this all, and go. And I just went cold turkey, never touched that stuff afterwards. But it was really powerful. You know, I dumped all my drugs and that's how my mission called me, you know, and then I just start putting my life back together and start actually opening my eyes and say, who can I help? How can I stop making this life miserable because I focus on how uncomfortable this existence is for me? Yeah. How can I open my eyes and say, you know what? When you don't live in service, your life is fucking miserable.
It is.
Right. And that's why we have such a culture of numbing. Mm-hmm. We have such a culture of numbing. And I speak about it really openly because so many entrepreneurs will and do get into numbing behavior, right? And all kind of addictions because they either do something that brings them money, but they're not fulfilled, right? Yeah. And you can't shut that voice of the soul. When it's your time to awaken, baby, Nothing can silence that soul. It's just how dramatic do you want to make it?
When I connect who's basically telling me that they can't go into what or doing something, I say there's nothing wrong in pouring yourself a little bit, right? And, and they're like, what? Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong in pouring yourself. And if you don't want to pour yourself, then it's not overnight. You know this takes time. You know this takes energy. This takes passion. This takes pain. But you can absolutely create that change both in business or in love. But I guess there's no sugarcoating about the fact that it's a process that requires so much presence and so much heart and so much like being willing to fall off the horse and get back on the horse, right?
Oh my God, it's so true, and I'm really really glad that you shine some light on that. That it takes what did you say? It takes patience, sacrifice, and
it takes so much patience, determination, sacrifice, vulnerability. It's just opening your heart, failing and failing again. But loving the process. I think at some point, yes. If you remember those days when you started this thing and you were putting in one card, it's an exciting time.
Yeah.
Do you want to do it right now? No, but it's cool when it happened because it made you who you are, right?
It's an adventure, right?
Yeah,
it's an adventure. Yeah. So that gave me an insight, almost seeing love and creating your dream relationship, your dream partnership, seeing that is an adventure, right?
It is. I mean, the process of finding that guy is the process of you discovering who you are, deepening into your feminine energy, experiencing more love, so
good. I was trying to point at you. Okay. That's why I was like, so good.
Yeah. If you look at it that way, then it's exciting. If you look at it, well, I'm going to start, as you said, I'm going to start living when this happens, then you miss out on the point of life. Because when that happens, you'll do the same thing when I get married, when I get kids, when my kids are out of college. I mean, you continue doing the same thing endlessly. If you can't feel happy the way you are right now, when he comes, you will never feel happy. Right?
So true. You got to bring your happipiness with you. You got to bring your happiness with you.
Only expand on what you have, is what I say. So if you have happiness, you'll expand on it. If you have shitness, you'll expand on that.
You expand on your shitness.
Yeah.
You're hilarious. You're so funny. That is so true. That is so true. Wow. I love that. Well, did you know that we talked for almost 52 minutes?
Wow, I thought it was like half an hour, so that's good.
Right? We just going and going. This was amazing. I would like for us to do this again if you're open, because this is just incredible, and I love your depth and lighthearted energy that you bring to it. It just, I know, because, I have so many courageous and connected women in my community, and I work with some of them on business but not on relationships. So what do you have running right now? Like, what kind of courses that you're offering? What kind of maybe events? I know you're doing live events, right?
Yeah, I do live events for my clients right now. It's not open to the public, but I do what I do is I do coaching basically. So I have groups of women that I help and guide to find what they want with less pain and with less time than it would take them otherwise. And it's so much fun for me. For them it's fun, but it's also a lot of work, So if they want to reach out at some point, they just go to my website, yourgreatlifetv.com, and there'll be a link there where they can connect to see if we're fit to work together. I'm very honest when I connect with someone. If I don't feel I'm the best person to help them, I'll tell them, I can't help you right now. And I'm selective in who I work with, just like you are, But if somebody's super hungry, somebody's committed, somebody's done all the things to get what they want and they don't have it, then it might be a good time to talk.
Yes. And you do, I'm always curious, like why, so you do the group, right? You do the group, and is it like, how long is the group? And can they just join anytime?
Yeah, I mean, I have groups that are ongoing all the time. And so there's a group that lasts 2 months, and there's an extension for 6 more months after you finish that first 2 months. So it gives me a taste, and also that person a taste of what this is about, get them some really good results, and then figure out if we're a great match to continue working together for longer, to guide them by the hand to get more of what they want or not. Maybe that's all they need, or maybe it's the best for both of us to not continue, then it stays at 2 months. But for the most part, I work with most of my clients, I think, for 8 months in average.
8 months is a good time. Yeah. For sure. Well, I'm gonna link your website to the recording so people can find you.
Thank you so much.
We got the question. Sean says no group for men. Yeah, Sean said Bernardo works with women, but if you're looking for a good coach for men, I definitely have somebody for you. Somebody amazing. Yes, but so many grateful comments right here. People say amazing, amazing, amazing. So thank you guys for your comments. Thank you for being here, and we're gonna post the replay.
And I mean, thank you. I'm gonna share this on my Facebook page as well. If people want to connect with you, where can I connect with you?
Well, I am the fastest way to connect to me is through Facebook.
Okay, cool.
This is the fastest way. My personal page or my business page. Probably personal page is the best.
Yeah.
And I'm rolling my new website in literally hopefully 4 weeks.
Okay, cool.
Oh, rebranding sexiness is going on the towers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but Facebook is the best.
I mean, I guess Facebook is also a way to connect with me.
Right.
Message. I mean, yeah, that's simple, easy.
You're very approachable. Very approachable. Yeah. Well,
thank you so much for inviting me. I have so much fun. You're such a powerful, as you say, woman, but from the heart, and that's what I like about you. You have so many insights to share from a very humble and vulnerable space, which makes it even more appealing. And that's part of the reason why you have so many people who are flocking to connect with you. I enjoy your friendship so much, and I'm so thankful for the way you showed up, the way you invited me, and the questions you asked, and the passion that you shared in this conversation. Wow. I love you so much, Katerina.
Oh, I'm loving you, and thank you for the beautiful, beautiful friendship, and I am so looking forward to deepening that, and thank you so much for your love and your presence. Aww.
Thank you.
Amazing. All right. Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're so grateful. And for those who watch in replay, we dropped a lot of wisdom grenades. Too.
Awesome.
Bye, you guys.